Hi and welcome to OnSide SA. Budgie and I are going to be talking to Stevie B in the Fulham studio later. But as we're all excited, the leagues are starting to take shape. The the Championship starts this weekend. Local soccer starts this weekend. Community Shield is this weekend, and of course the league starts next weekend. So the first thing I'm going to speak to Budge about is, of course, last one standing. Budge, what's the latest?
Paul, starts next Friday, Paul. Liverpool, Bournemouth. I haven't sent everybody the messages out yet, just one or two things to secure.
Okay.
But our last competition, Ken Moby, Marco Govia, they're going head to head, so they will start afresh.
They can pick any team.
Pick any team, which is the only right way, Paul.
Yes.
You can't say you've got these six to pick from.
Yes.
So we start afresh and everybody else. Next Friday at 9 o'clock is the starting game, the starting time
Of the
Liverpool Bournemouth. So that's Friday night.
That's
yeah.
a good game, Budge, in the sense that there will be lock, stock and barrel on the champions.
Yeah.
Half will be on the champions. One of their best.
But, and then obviously if the guys are on, we'll continue it on Saturday. But you'll get the clip. I'll send everybody notification. The same rules, the same prize, and away we go.
Fantastic to look at it. And I know Stevie B doesn't win it, but he's had a better run lately, so we can wind him up. His team haven't bought a player. Spurs play Burnley in the opening game. They will have a lot of people with them.
Yeah, well, they should have.
They should have.
But remember, Spurs play next Wednesday, PSG, so maybe they'll be a little bit tired after chasing a few shadows, but you never know.
PSG are a better side than them.
Yeah.
They're a good side. But that's good news. It's going to start.
So, everyone will be notified.
I'm excited. Yeah. Let's get on to Stevie B, and you can start talking about the transfer later. Steve, are you about?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Just for you and Budge sort of attacking the transfers. Exciting time, Steve, with all these clubs doing their last-minute trading.
Except, again, we've got the transfer window is open until September 1st. So there are 3 Premier League games before the window shuts. And I suspect there'll be, as always, a lot of business done in that last week. When maybe the big teams have done their business and they're looking to offload players, and that's why sides like Fulham will probably be coming in for 1 or 2 signings, I suspect, in the last few days.
Yeah, well, you've got your squad, Steve. So why add depth? When you spend money on depth, if you're going to get somebody that's going to improve your squad, great for it. Otherwise, get 1 or 2 on loan. And then at least that improves your depth. I agree with that.
Just before you start, Steve.
No, I think that's the way they look at it. They're not going to bring in just for the sake of it. They're going to bring in players who can add quality to the squad, and that's fine. So provided we don't lose anybody that is in our current first team squad now, then it's just a case of sort of adding 2 or 3 to it.
Yeah.
Just listening to Talk Sport on the way in, and they were having a go at Jamie Carragher. Jamie Carragher had a go at some time back at Chelsea, saying they're just buying, they haven't got the right team, they're not a good enough team. Now he's gone back and said, no, the players they bought haven't enhanced them, they've sold a few players, but they can never be a league, in his opinion, league challengers. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Steve?
No, I'm not sure I quite agree with that. I mean, they showed. They've obviously got a policy now bringing in younger players. And if you look at the age of their squad, but if you look at the way they played and dismantled PSG in the final, they're capable. They've added some quality to the squad in the summer. I think the crazy thing is the players they brought in last year, they're already looking at letting go. Yeah. But it's like that's the only thing is that at what point is Maresca going to have a settled first team squad? Maybe this year might be the year, but they haven't finished their business. They're still looking at bringing players in, so it's going to be. It is a pretty fluid situation, and I think compared to Liverpool, it'd be hard to sort of back against Liverpool with the squad that they've got and pretty settled compared to Chelsea.
Yeah, as far as the 2 things, Steve, as far as Chelsea goes, they get a goalkeeper. I know Donnarumma, there's talk PSG on, they have signed a goalkeeper. And if he's available, hopefully United are in for him. But if Chelsea get him, that's my biggest problem with Chelsea. They need another centre-half and a goalkeeper. Because if you go through the leagues, the best teams have got that steel goalkeeper, centre-half, and so on.
That network.
And for me, Carragher, tongue-in-cheek, everything's Liverpool for him, which is understandable. But the reason they won the league so comfortably last year was injuries. You have a look what happened. Once Rodri went with Man City, They were under pressure. You look at Arsenal; they lost several players. They lost, so let Liverpool lose the goalkeeper. I know everyone's screaming, Mama Dashvili, the Valencia keeper. Let's see him come for crosses and get one or two smacks. Let's have a look if Van Dijk goes down. Liverpool had no injuries last year.
No key injuries.
Gravenberch was brilliant for them.
Yeah.
They haven't got a decent midfield. They've got 3 only. That's all they've got.
Do you think they can win it again?
I don't fancy them one bit.
You don't? Okay. Let's more talk about Nunes first.
Nunes, Steve, I think that's a good sale, 56 million for Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I think that, they're obviously still, I'm sure they're going to go back in for Isak, and if they do, then obviously Nunes is surplus to requirements. So, and that would certainly strengthen them. I mean, that Isak has been basically is not training with the first team at Newcastle. So unless there's a real change in the heart there, or Liverpool don't come back, I can see him ending there, and then Nunes will be leaving.
Well, they pay 150. Now they've got 50 million for Nunes.
Well, they have to pay 150.
That's what they want, and I don't blame them. 150 million.
But he's not even training with them now. He's training by himself now.
For me, the saddest thing I think for several of the Newcastle guys that I've spoken to, if he wanted to leave, why not make a noise last year when they've won the League Cup? Yes. They're in the Champions. At the end of the season, I would like to go to Liverpool. It's the best he's ever played. Yeah. Liverpool are a massive club. That's when you want to jump ship. Don't leave it, never said a word, and all of a sudden, the next morning he wants to go to Liverpool.
And he trained in Europe with his old club.
That's his old club, Real Sociedad. I think he may end up going, but those Saudis, they've got more money than any club.
At this stage, he's not going.
It's 150 or you sit on the bench, and I don't blame Newcastle because they wanted Sesko. It looks like United have got him, Steve. Is that correct?
I think I saw this morning that United maybe have upped their bid a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that he's made it fairly clear. We understand that he prefers United, so it's there. He's there for the taking, and they can buy him for probably less than they bought Højlund for, or about the same. So, and he's a proven goal scorer. Still young, obviously would have to prove that he can do it in the Premier League. But I suspect that if United get him, that would be a pretty potent front three.
And also, I think what they may do is loan Højlund to RB Leipzig. Come to a deal with that on some condition. So at least they're not losing a major centre forward. And Højlund, in his defence, he did well when he was in Italy, but he hasn't done it at United. The other signing, I think, is a decent signing, is at Dewsbury Hall. I know he went from Leicester to Chelsea with Maresca. He never really got a chance. I think he'll do well at Everton.
So do I.
Yeah, that's a good. He was linked with Fulham a week or two ago. I don't know if that was just paper talk, but I think that's a decent signing for Everton. He, as you say, he was a bit part player at Chelsea, but he was one of Leicester's standout player when they got promoted. I think that he'll do well, and it's a good signing for David Moyes.
Another name mentioned with Everton, and this will be a massive one, is Jack Grealish. What's the latest with that, Steve?
Yeah, again, I was reading about that this morning. There's the possibility of a loan move. I'm not sure Everton would want to pay his wages in full, so City would have to do something. It's obvious he's surplus requirements at City, and he needs. You'd think he'd want to play. So I would think that would be an exceptional loan signing if they can do that.
Yeah. Do you know his wages are?
No, it's over 300, I think.
300 exactly.
Yeah. So Everton aren't going to pay that, and I don't think they're going to sign him. Unless if they were, he'd have to take a pay cut. But I think he wants to play. Yeah. So he's at that stage of his career. He's not in the England reckoning at the moment without playing. So he needs to be playing regularly to get back into contention. For example, there's no reason why he can't get back into an England squad if he shows his mettle.
Just quickly before we move on to the next point, Budge. Do you guys know who the highest paid weekly wages in the Premier League?
Must be Haaland, surely.
I think it's Haaland, yeah. Although, again, a lot of his money comes from sponsorship as well. It makes a fortune. So I think I would imagine it's Haaland.
What ballpark? What figure? 4?
Wasn't it like 500,000 or something with all the sponsors, Steve?
Yeah, so at least, it's pretty big.
Every Friday, 12 million rent.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. On a bad day, go to the pub, have a beer, and you've got £500,000 in your thing. Talking about Spurs, Paulinho, is he there?
Who?
Paulinho, is he on loan?
As we speak, yes. As we speak, yes.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, Spurs have obviously tried to get a few players, and I'm still I think they're making a mistake going with Tell.
Yeah.
They let him start the other day. They played 2 friendlies, and then against Newcastle, they drew with Newcastle Song's final game. I saw his video to the Spurs fans, very emotional. How was his goal again? Was it Burnley years ago?
He ran 100 metres.
Yeah, he took it from his big box and scored. So we wish him all the best, but I'm hoping that the new manager can make us competitive to get in the top 6.
You will be. It's injuries that Paul's your back for.
Yeah, that's right.
So Morgan's Gibb White, what's the latest? Is that still in the air?
At the moment, not coming. They thought it might go to court.
Oh.
It didn't, and he's back in full training with Forest.
Oh, okay. And Son, 20 million, highest sell to MLS, Steve?
22, they said.
Was it 22?
Yeah, I was surprised as much as that, but look, he's still got some years in him, particularly at that level, and I think it's a good move for him. He obviously likes the idea of somewhere for his family. He's going to get paid pretty well anyway, so it's a good move for him. For Tottenham, look, they've steeled up their midfield. He obviously decided that Thomas Frank. So you got Kudos and you got Paulinho. So there's a few yellow cards there, but I still think they look a bit light up front. I don't know what Paul thinks about that. So.
I 100% agree with you. Dominique has been erratic at best. Tell's rubbish, and he plays down the flanks. Kulusevski's injury prone at the moment. We don't get enough out of him. Johnson isn't physical enough. He's great getting into space, ball across the face, he taps it in. Madison's midfield. I'll just play up front. They won't play Madison up front. But as you say, they're going to have Bentancur, the new boy, Paulinho, whatever. They've still got Saw. They're going to keep him tight in the middle. At the back, we'll be all right. I think you're right, Steve. We're a little thin up front.
All right. Anyway, talking about thin up front, it's Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Sunday, the Community Shield. And we've got the ball here. This is the ball that they will be using in the Premiership. It's a Puma ball.
Puma ball, fantastic.
Speaking to a good friend of ours, Richard Michael. I think it's a 3-year contract. I'd hate to know how much they paid, but...
So this is the actual ball. If they can just
zoom in on it again, guys. Have
a look at this ball. I think it's fantastic.
Okay, but...
All right, so let's move on. Who's going to win this, Steve?
Well, I think it's hard based on if you look at the squads to back against Liverpool. Crystal Palace are a very low-key pre-season compared to Liverpool. But they have managed to keep the majority of their squad intact. There's a lot of talk about Gahey and Eze going, or Mateta, but they're all there still. And this morning there's a quote saying it looks like Eze will stay now. So whether or not they'll give him a new contract, if that's the case. And I think it's important because Eze, I think, was the heartbeat of the team last season. They surprised everybody. Palace last year, they winning the cup in the first place. I don't think people gave them much of a chance, but I think that you'd expect Liverpool to be too strong.
Only thing about that is Guy here. I was reading a stat about him. He's in his final year at Crystal Palace. Everybody wants him. Wow! If it was me, I would take the chance, play my final year at Palace, come to an agreement with the club. He can leave next year and get all that transfer money for himself. So if he's worth 50, 60 million, I'd be playing the year in Europe. I'm taking the team to Europe. They're in the Conference League, which they can win. And next year, get the money. I think this is a closer game. You've got to fancy Liverpool with all their new flashy signings. But this team is well organised. I just don't know how prepared they're going to be. But they've got good players. And that Mateta and Liverpool, I don't know what's going to happen with their back four. But they better be careful because this team could catch them on the break and cause damage.
Okay, that's excellent.
I think from Palace's point of view, it doesn't for them. They really need to know what Gahey is planning, because if he is definitely going to go in a season. Do they really want to keep him and let him go for nothing, or do they want to get their 40-50 million now?
Yeah.
So I think they need to get some sort of clarity of that situation for themselves, because the fans aren't going to be very happy to have a player like that, an asset who's one of their sort of most valuable players, walking away for nothing.
Steve, sorry to interrupt you. How does it work? If, as Budgie says, he sees out his career and he's finished, he's a free agent, is that the term? And someone wants to pay 20 million. Who does the money go to? The club?
It goes to him.
Well, no. Once he's gone and he's out of contract, then they can give him a signing on fee, which has happened in the past. With Trent, it was different. Actually, he left before the end of his contract, so Liverpool actually got a fee because Real Madrid wanted him to be available in the World Club Championship, so they were prepared to pay a fee. Which I'm slightly surprised about. 10 million. It's a bit of a gamble on their part, because they didn't actually win the World Club Championship. So that was an expensive few games for them.
Yeah. If it's me, I hope he stays for the season and he gets to move next year. I wouldn't want him to go. You're in Europe. You don't want to get stuck out at the group stage, and it's going to be a long season. I think they're a good team. How nobody's come in for that young midfield player amazes me. He's a top young. Was it Burnley he came from? I always forget his name, Steve.
He played for England.
That young.
He came from Blackburn. Wharton came from
Blackburn.
Yeah,
that's it, yeah. He came from
a
Blackburn.
lot of teams were linked with him, but so you're right. I mean, he's still sort of young, but
player.
Him as a, they've got some good players there.
Yeah.
They started badly last year, and maybe that's what sort of affected them. But as a, there was a lot of talk about Arsenal coming in. They're saying that he's got a release clause of 60 million.
Yeah, they won't come in
to
for
be
that
fair,
price.
I don't think they will. But if you look at the sort of value of some players that are being bought, Eze is 60 million is probably not sort of totally unreasonable.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. And you think they sold Elise to Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
Crikey, Mose, they've done great business. Anyway, on to the toughest league in the world, and it's the Championship. It kicks off on Friday night with two of the top three in the betting for ought to win the league. Birmingham City, owned by the legendary NFL player Tom Brady, against Ipswich Town. What's the famous singer who's got a share in the club? Gingerhead boy from Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
So this will be a top game,
look,
Steve.
This will be a big game. I mean, I understand it's a sellout. Birmingham have, obviously, they're looking to strengthen their squad. Ipswich, as we know, obviously sold Liam Delap, but they still got quite a bit of the squad intact. Yeah. I think this is going to be a good game. This is going to be an interesting test for Birmingham, because obviously, they walked away with the League One last year, but I think they're going to find it a bit tougher this year. I fancy Ipswich. I think one of the best signings they've done, Ipswich, is keeping their manager.
Yeah.
And I think that they're looking to add to the squad in the next week or two. And I think that, for me, I see them as favourites to win the league. And I fancy them maybe just to edge this one. Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of pressure on Birmingham. They're trying to bed in some new players. But I just think if Ipswich show the sort of fight as they did in some of their games, away from home particularly, I think this could be a really good game. Looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I fancy Ipswich of the two teams. Ipswich to score over 1.5 goals is 17-10. I thought that was a big price. Birmingham City beat nothing in League One last year. I know they won the league by 19 points. Yeah. But they had a lot of decent signings, but that was League One. Ipswich, Hutchinson will more than likely play. That's the youngster that Forest, I think, wanted, and Brentford also wanted. I just think it's a massive jump, League One, and Ipswich too. They didn't have a great side, but away from home last year, they were competitive. Of the two teams, I'm all over Ipswich. I think 18-10 is a decent price. Charlton, who sneaked into the Championship via the playoffs, Steve, against a Watford team, surprised to say, with another new manager. What does your brother think of the chances this year?
Well, again, it's there's some comings and goings in Watford by the looks of it. I guess we'll have to see how it pans out with the new manager. Charlton have very quietly gone about their business, brought some new players in. There's been, the new owners are putting some money in there, and I think they're going to have a sort of fairly decent season. And I fancy them to edge this one at home, Charlton.
Yeah, 12 out of 12 wins of the last 14. Yeah, they won the league. Yeah, they won the League Cup. It came through. So always difficult, but a London derby.
137.
Now the team that I think is going to have a good season, hopefully they don't sell one or two of their players, is Frank Lampard's Coventry City. Hull City sneaked in last game of the season. They got the draw. I know they've got a new manager as well, but I fancy Coventry City. Steve, do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, Frank, they had a bit of a go towards the end of the season, Coventry, and I think, again, they've kept quite a bit of their squad intact so far. I think that they'll have a go this year, and I think they're going to be certainly playoff contenders.
Yeah, they won none of the last 11. Their 2 losses were to Leeds and Burnley, who got promotion. So 8 to 10, I'm all over them. Another team who were disgraceful last season and are expected to turn it around, one hit to Southampton. Wrexham, that's Ryan Reynolds' team, all the way up from the National League. Southampton have got to put their foot down the pedal because they can't afford to get started. They want to come back up, Steve.
The Sun Dibble.
Sold them. I mean, Southampton are still desperately trying to keep hold of one or two of the younger players.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure they will. I think, look, Wrexham, again, I think they did very well to get up from League One, but I think this is a bigger challenge. They've got some experienced players they're bringing in, like Conor Cody and Kiefer Moore. But I think Southampton, as things stand, I think Southampton still be too strong for them at the weekend, and I think they've got to get off to a winning start because last season was as bad as it's got for them.
Yeah, I think there's guaranteed goals, 9 to 10, over 2.5 goals. On to our second page, in Middlesbrough against Swansea City. Swansea City ended the season well, Steve, winning 5 out of 7. Can you see them upsetting Middlesbrough?
Who's the boss of Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I mean, Middlesbrough obviously sort of changed their, with Michael Carrick going, which I think some people are sort of slightly disappointed about because it's not like I don't think they backed him particularly well in the transfer market. So, Swansea did finish very well. So, but I'm not sure how whether they'll do as well this season. They always sort of try and play nice football, but sort of come unstuck. I think this could be closer than the betting shows, but I still probably just about favour the home side.
Yeah, Rob Edwards at Middlesbrough, Paul. He was the guy that got Luton promoted.
So Carragher's out of a job.
Carragher's out for a while. And Luka Modric, isn't he part of the Swansea City ownership?
He's sort of in the minority interest, but I'm not sure. Obviously, he's still playing. He's going to be in Italy, so I'm not quite sure how much influence he'll have over the situation.
Yeah. Our next game is Norwich City. Now, one thing about them at home, they scored 52 goals in their 23 home league games last season. So they have a go, they concede as well. Millwall were great. They're only 2 points outside the playoff places last year, managed by ex-Preston guy Alex Neil. I also think the betting should be a lot closer, Steve, even though there should be goals in this game.
I think you're right. I mean, Norwich had a very disappointing season overall, away from home particularly. But at home, I do think that they might just start off with a win. I think it will be close. I can see this sort of being maybe just a goal in it because Millwall are going to make themselves hard to beat. Yeah. And as I say, they had a good late run last year with just a little bit adrift. But I think they'll be close again. I think Norwich have been very disappointing the last couple of years. But I think this year, I've just got a feeling, again, they've kept quite a few of their players, brought one or two in. I think they'll be challenging.
As long as
I'm going to go with a home win.
Yeah, as long as they keep that Josh Sargent, the American centre forward, I think they'll be fine. But I went both teams to score at 9 to 10, but guaranteed over 2.5 goals at the same price. Oxford, Portsmouth, both got promoted last season. Both stayed up. They were hanging on at the beginning, but they did well to survive, Steve. I think this has got draw written all over it.
Yeah, this should be a good. Oxford, I think, surprised a lot of people. I don't think they had a really good couple of spells where they pulled themselves away from the bottom, and then they were never really in trouble. Portsmouth started slowly, and again picked themselves up. I fancy Oxford. If there was to be a winner, I'd probably fancy Oxford. But I think, as you say, it's going to be for me Oxford or a draw there. Yeah,
Portsmouth's second worst away record in the championships, but I expect a tight affair. QPR Preston North End. My boys are very quiet, but I don't know. I haven't heard from too many QPR fans, so that may be a good thing. What do you think, Steve?
I mean, again, QPR sort of, parted with their manager. They again had a fairly disappointing season. Preston really finished quite poorly, didn't they?
Sure.
I think Reese is gone, who was one of their players.
Thank goodness.
Who was one of their sort of backup players. Yeah, but I think again, for me, it'd be a close game. I think QPR at home probably edge it, but Preston capable of getting of holding them.
Yeah, we won 1 of 15. I could not believe it. 2 clean sheets. Freddie Woodman, who's gone to he won't get sacked. He's too good.
Yeah.
Bad team. Freddie Woodman went to Liverpool. We've signed one of our goalkeepers, Iverson. We spent money on a centre forward. I can't believe it. We spent money, but we brought in 9 players. No. But we had to bring because the team was terrible. But that Reese that went up front, I've watched him. What a bad touch. Every ball that went up to him came back. I think it's a good selling. We need to go to Bristol City.
But that striker Moore. The big
Kiefer Moore. He was at Sheffield United. I don't know where he's gone. But
Kiefer Moore has gone to Wrexham.
Has he gone to Wrexham? Okay, well, that's a good sign.
He'll score goals. He'll score goals in the Championship because that's his level.
Yeah, but Preston, if he can get a point, I'll be over the moon. On to our final page in the Championship. Stoke City against Derby County. How do you see it going?
I think it'll be a fairly close game. I mean, both teams, historically have been better than they are. Yeah. Derby is sort of strengthening a little bit. They've got sort of getting themselves out of their transfer embargo situation. Stoke are disappointing. With the owners they have, I think they've pretty much decided they're not throwing money at it at the moment. So I can see this being pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel each other out.
Yeah, Bet365, that's the owners. The Moors, the Moors, they own them, yeah. It was funny, they got a good home record, but Derby County was struggling. They got that John Eustace, I think he was from Blackburn. Last 11 games, they won 6. They only conceded 8 goals. So I expect another tight game, but I don't see Stoke City losing. The team I'm interested in is managed by the old Spurs. The guy that got injured, Spurs, was it Ryan Mason? He's taken over West Brom.
Yes.
Blackburn, you never know. They always lose players, a lot of good youngsters. I think there's goals in this, Steve, but of the two sides, I like West Brom. Who do you fancy?
Yeah, I mean, again, West Brom have been disappointing in the last year or two. They've been fancied to finish higher than they have. I think, again, they've managed to keep most of the squad intact. I think they'll do okay, and I expect them to win this one.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals. Sheffield United, this is a late game. Yeah, but they've lost several players, Sheffield United, against a Bristol City team who, ironically, they eliminated in the playoffs. They beat them 3-0 home and away. That sounds like another home victory, Steve.
I would think so, but again, Sheffield United, I think they were at one point they looked like they were going to get automatic promotion, and it just fell away from them at the end. So, as you say, they've lost 1 or 2 players, but I think they should be too strong. Bristol City had I think you're not sure what you're going to get from them. They're decent at home, but on the road, not so much. So, I fancy a home win.
Yeah, I've got to expect a good start from Sheffield United. And the Sunday game, Steve, I know Sheffield Wednesday, ownership problems, player problems. Will the game go on?
Well, as things stand, they have said that they will fulfil the fixture, but you can't see anything other than a comfortable home win. They've got a squad of something like 15 first-team players, and I don't, that isn't, that can't continue. And as things stand, if there's a problem with wages not getting paid again this month, 1 or 2 more players can leave. So what's happened is that a number of players who weren't paid for 2 months had the right to tear up their contracts, and they walked away. There's a transfer embargo, and also one of the stands has been closed because it's not been maintained for health and safety. I also noticed that one of the players that left Sheffield Wednesday in the summer went to Glasgow Rangers, scored 2 of their goals the other night in the Champions League playoff match. So it's really looking, when you think that Sheffield Wednesday, big club years ago and challenging for promotion in recent years, but it needs new ownership because at the moment it's desperate. Once they start missing fixtures, if that happens, then I think it's the writing's on the wall. They are just about able to fulfil this one, so they say. But with 15 first-team players, that's not sustainable for much longer.
Yeah, you more than likely find they get a lot of lone players in just to try and help them. But guys jumping over 2.5 goals, both teams to score. No, it was 19-10. This is a 3-4-0 job if ever I've seen one. But seen worse things, but should be Leicester. Steve, talking to Leicester, there's rumour they may have a points deduction coming up. Is that right?
That's been hovering over them, and that's I'm not sure when that's going to be heard. That's been the issue because it's certainly been hovering over them. So we'll see. I mean, that could have a huge difference. They're one of the favourites to go straight back up, but obviously any type of points deduction could have a bearing. So I don't know at this stage when any hearing there could be a hearing on that.
Okay, Steve, pressure time a game. I know it's always difficult. First week, who you on?
I think I fancy Norwich. I just think at home. I think I just got a feeling they're getting off to a good start. It will be close. Yeah. And my value, I'm going to go for Ipswich. I just got a feeling that if they're going to make a name for themselves again this season, big game, but I think this is a good time to play Birmingham before they've sort of bedded in some of their new players. Yeah.
No, right. Well, I'm on Coventry City best bet, and I fancy Ipswich as well. It is Friday. But 18-10, I think, is a big price. I'm also going to be backing them to score over 1.5 goals at the same price. So that's my suggestion on that. Steve, thanks as always, and enjoy the Fulham game on Saturday.
Yeah, cheers. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Right, but let's shoot through the local stuff. MTN quarter-final. I've just got the results up here. Sundowns thumped Richard Bay. Stellenbosch edged Amazulu.
Good game, Paul. Amazulu went to extra time,
Sekhukhune 3-2.
They were 2-0 down against TS Galaxy. Came back.
And Pirates 2-0.
Yeah, what's the first half? 2-0 up in Cruise, Paul.
Semi-final draw, but interesting.
Brilliant.
Pirates, Sundowns, Stellenbosch, Sekhukhune.
It's 2 legs. The first leg's next Saturday. I haven't seen when the second leg is, but Pirates, Sundowns be 2 full houses.
I've seen there's a bit of transfer going on. I've been looking at the markets. There are a couple of weaker teams are getting a few good players in, but the PSL fixtures start this weekend.
When we get the fixtures up and
starts Saturday. What do you think?
Amazulu Orbit College, are they from Rustenburg? They finished second. They won the promotion playoff, and so they come to, I think, a game's in Mlazi and KwaMashu. Princess Magogo in KwaMashu. Paul, I was impressed what I saw from Amazulu last week. They gave Stellenbosch a good game, well organised, and I know 5-10 is short, but Amazulu should win. I'm expecting a good season from them. I think they finished 7th last year, so I think they'll be fine this year. Chipper United, Paul, Sundowns, what I saw, they're a good team, Paul. They're proper side, and that this game's in PE. Chipper will give them a game, but if they concede early, they could be in trouble. But you can't look past Sundowns. Polokwane, you never know with them, Paul. Magezi had a great end of the season, especially away from home. You never know. I said Polokwane, win and draw for me there. Richards Bay, Paul, this game's in Mlazi. I know they got beat 4-0, but they were competitive. Just the quality of Sundowns was too good for them. Maruma Gallants, you just never know with them. They play at a Bloem. And Bloem, they don't get beat too often. Durban, if ever the game is going to be a draw, I think that's a particular game, 1-1. Because Richards Bay, they do have a go and they can score goals. On to our second page, we got Orlando Pirates. This will be a good game. Eric Tinkler's at Sekhukhune. I think he's a top manager. But Pirates were impressive, Paul. They got to the Champions League semi-final last year. 6-10 is short. But obviously, I don't see them getting beat. But the Exotics have added the draw. Siwelela, that's the Supersport team.
Okay, so what they're called?
That's what they're called, now. So Siwelela, So they're playing at, I think it's Bloemfontein, I think it is. Golden Arrows, you never know with arrows. Mongoba Mangita, he's a good manager. I see them training every day on the outfields here by the soccer stadium. You never know, Paul. It's Siwelela. Let's have a look. They've lost a few players. Bradley Klobber's gone to Sekhukhune, their goal scorer. I think both teams to score looks a decent bet. TS Galaxy, Durban City. I was hoping to see Gavin on the beachfront. I've seen Ernst Middendorf several times. I've spoken to him. They were a decent, hard team to beat last year.
Yeah.
But TS Galaxy, decent side, Paul. And
tough for Gavin to start with
Yeah.
his team.
now, they've been training for a while, Paul, but it's hard. You play friendly games, it's hard. Now you're the real McCoy.
Yeah.
So if you can get a point, it'll be a great result. And Stellenbosch Chiefs.
That's a good game.
I'm looking for, I think there'll be goals in this, Paul. Chiefs, let's hope
Sunday,
Ethan
5:30.
Chislett. Yeah, I'll be watching this. And let's see. But Stellenbosch, they played well last week. Steve's got his squad going well, Paul. But let's hope for a good Kaiser Chiefs. Last year they were 9th. They couldn't score a goal. They scored 25 goals in 28 league games. So let's hope they come right, Paul. We're looking for a better Chiefs. But I went goals in that game, Paul. 15-10, over 2.5 goals. Playing at Athlone. Let's hope the weather holds out.
Right, Butch, tell me about your thoughts.
Yeah, Paul, the Saturday exotics, at least better teams to bet on. And first one up is the PSL one. I bank at Sundowns to win at Chipper United, and also going for Amazulu to beat Orbit College. I've thrown the draw in with Polokwane City against Magezi. Gone the field in the Richards Bay Maruma Gallets. I've thrown the draw with Orlando Pirates. I think Sekakuna will make it tough. And I've gone the field in the Siwalela Golden Arrows clash, 2-1-6. On to the second Soccer Sixer Championship one. A lot of home win and draws here. I've got Norwich City to avoid defeat against Millwall. Likewise, Middlesbrough win and draw against Swansea City. Oxford United win and draw against Portsmouth. Hate to say it, I've gone QPR win and draw at home against my boys Preston North End. I don't see Stoke City losing at home to Derby County, and I'm chancing West Brom to beat Blackburn Rovers 192. On to the Soccer 10, I'm banking Sundowns to beat Chipper and Amazulu to beat Orbit College. Polokwane City win and draw against Magezi. The field in the Richards Bay versus Maruma Gallants game. Everton opening their home stadium, home against Roma. You never know with friendly games. It's a friendly. Aston Villa beat Roma 4-0, so I'm going Everton win and draw. West Brom banking them to beat Blackburn Rovers. Portuguese League starts, so CD Nacional, the field against Gil Vicente. Going Orlando Pirates win and draw against Sekakuna. And Westerlo win and draw at home against KB Mechelen in the Belgian League. And going for Sheffield United to beat Bristol City.
They don't make it easy.
88. No.
They don't
make it easy. On to the Soccer 13. Likewise, a lot of home win and draws. Going for Halmstad win and draw against Sirius. Middlesbrough win and draw at home against Swansea City. And Norwich City win and draw at home against Millwall. Oxford United to avoid defeat against Portsmouth. Queen's Park Rangers win and draw against Preston North End. Bankering Sheffield United to beat Bristol City. And Stoke City win and draw at home against Derby County. On to the second page, I'm going West Brom to beat Blackburn Rovers. Going for Blackpool to beat Exeter City. Mansfield Town to beat Doncaster Rovers. Bradford City to avoid defeat against Northampton Town. Stevenage to beat Rotherham United, and ending up with a team I think will win the league, Stockport County to beat Wycombe Wanderers 256. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. I'm going Coventry City to beat Hull City and over 2.5 total goals. Then I'm going over 2.5 total goals in the Southampton versus Wrexham game. Then I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no. And the Leicester versus Sheffield Wednesday game, 2,800 to 200. My both teams to score sides are Birmingham City, Ipswich Town, Norwich City, Millwall, QPR Preston, and West Brom Blackburn, 2,800 to 200. Going to take a chance on the PSL this weekend. I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no. It was 28 to 10. I thought it was a great price. Chipper versus Sundowns. Both teams to score in the Richards Bay versus Maruma Gallants game, and over 2.5 total goals in the Stellenbosch Kaiser Chiefs game, 4,000 to 200. On to Scotland, I'm going Celtic to beat Aberdeen to 0. Both teams to score in the Hibernian versus Kilmarnock and St Mirren versus Motherwell fixtures, and Hearts to beat Dundee United on Sunday, 3,000 to 200. Swedish, got to keep going with the Swedish league. At least it has a full set of fixtures. I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score yes. And the Malmo and Jalby and ARK Djurgårdens games. And Gaze Gothenburg to beat IFK Gothenburg, and both teams to score yes. That's on Monday night, 4,000 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa. Had to find another 6, 7 or 10 shots. So I've put Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace. I'm going Coventry City to beat Hull City. Leicester to beat Sheffield Wednesday. Celtic to beat Aberdeen. Elfsborg to beat RFK Bonamo. And Hearts to beat Dundee United. 2,500 to 200.
Looks good, but it's nice to get to know.
Yeah,
more
better. You know,
the
unfortunately,
teams that we know.
First week it's still teams a bit rusty, Paul.
Yeah.
But at least teams we know, more info, and we can watch, Paul. That's the biggest thing.
Teams in their first games against Championship or Premier League, they don't mind coming away with the draw.
Yeah.
We started, we didn't get beaten. We get running a lot of draws in those opening rounds.
And also, Paul, from experience, you need games to get into it. That sharpness is not really there until you play.
We know from experience.
It's never easy.
It's never easy. Well, there you go. Don't forget, we're getting very close to our last one standing. Starts next Friday night. Get hold of Budge and get sorted out. And until next time, stay on side.